I love the Gen Z right now who are all about the soft life. So I hope they are listening because living the soft life requires a ton of support to actually accomplish
Absolutely.
goals. All right. Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're listening to us. This is Dr. Bolanle Akinrambi, psychiatrist at Bright Minds MD, a practice that services New Jersey and New York, where we help people with depression, anxiety, and many other disorders feel better using fewer medications and wellness practices. I'm excited about the guest that is going to be sharing with us today. Her name is Dr. Lolade, but I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell us a bit about what she does and who she is. Dr. Lolade, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me so much, Dr. Bolanley. I've been such a great fan of yours. Thank you for all you do for mental health.
Thank you. Thank you. Tell our listeners who you are and what you do, Dr. Lolade.
Okay, so I'm Dr. Lolade. I'm the CEO and founder of Lolly Tasking. Lolly Tasking is a productivity and wellness consulting firm where we help women. Mainly, we focus on high-powered or high-achieving women. So I would say women like myself who are, CEOs, professionals, and want to win both at work and at life. However, a lot of times what their plans and goals are always limited by overwhelm or being too busy. And I also have another branch of the company who also focuses on ADHD. So I talk about how we help women who have busy brains, hashtag ADHD, or the spectrum, right? That's why I use the word busy brains. There are a lot of women who are not clinically diagnosed as ADHD, but are on that vast spectrum, as I like to call it. And then there are also some women who don't have ADHD, but they're extremely overwhelmed and they need someone who can help them with life management. And I always say life management, time management is life management. When you manage your time, you manage your life. So I'm pretty much a productivity and ADHD expert.
Thank you so much. See, I could not have captured that introduction well, so I'm glad you're the one talking about it. As a mental health expert, though, so I love your catchphrase. We help people with busy lives, and I think busy lives
Busy
and busy
brains.
brain, and really that is our big intersection because I work with a lot of with people with ADHD, and as we know, there are more and more people with ADHD that are being discovered and being diagnosed. So when I saw that busy life, busy brains, that really captures my ADHD population,
Absolutely.
because busy brains and many that are adults have busy lives as well. I want to say,
Absolutely.
although Dr. Lolade's focus are professional women with busy brain and busy lives, the things we're going to share today really can be extrapolated and helpful, right, for people, for other people as
Oh,
well who are not women, men,
absolutely.
women, other genders, and people in other
If you have a
stages of their
brain, we
lives.
got you.
That's right. I wanted to say that so that people are like, oh, this is for women. I'm done. No, I think
No,
a
no.
lot of what is super useful for, especially for people with ADHD, but also even for people with non-ADHD. But we'll get right into that. I'll let you
Absolutely.
talk about that. I also like to preface that what we share today is not medical advice. It's really education, entertainment, discussions, learning about, sharing tools for the public as our own way of, providing a service outside of the clinical space to the general public. So thank you again, Dr. Ladi. Coming back to
Thank you so
Busy
much.
Brains, Busy Lives, um, what do people say? Like by the time people come to see you, by the time people come to ask for your help, what are they struggling with? What are they saying to you, Dr. Ladi? Please help me. I have XYZ. What is that thing?
I would say the number one chief complaints. And I did mention I'm also a pediatric cardiologist. If
Oh,
that
that's
tells
right.
you anything. So, as a pediatric cardiologist, I'm extremely busy, and I also have ADHD myself. However, one of the biggest complaints people come to me is like, I just can't win. It's almost like they're fighting air, right? They
Hmm.
try, they're not, or some of them may feel lazy, right? But they're not lazy. They have these goals they want to accomplish, and it just seems that it just can't happen for whatever reason. And a lot of people, some people say overwhelm, some people say
Mm.
burnout. There are a lot of different phases, and there's some intentionality in all of them. And the number one thing that intertwines them is that they are not living a fulfilled life.
They're not living a fulfilled life.
It could be
So,
because they're burnt out. It could be
okay.
because they got too much on their plate. It could be because they have anxiety, they're overwhelmed. Whatever goals they're trying to accomplish is not being realized and it's not being actualized. And as you and I know, when you have a plan and a goal and where you think your life needs to be, and you feel like it's not there, you feel unfulfilled. So a
That's
lot of times
right.
when they come to me, they're like, Dr. Loladay, I don't know what's going on with me. I see other people doing it, and I just can't get my stuff together.
I
How
can't
can
get
you help
myself
me?
together.
They just can't get life
Ah.
together, you know?
And these
Um,
are things that they would think that they can do, right? Like, it's not like,
yeah.
oh, I'm gonna be a NASA astronaut. I've never done anything NASA related. No, these are things that people feel like, well, they're within the realm of my accomplishments, but somehow I can't get myself to get it done. Is that it?
Absolutely, absolutely. There are times I will say, especially with my ADHD clients who tend to be dreamers and overachievers and over planners, that I have to bring it down a notch. Like, yes, you could build a Eiffel Tower, but how about we start by finding where the land is, right? So some of the planning and coaching I do is kind of like reanalyzing and reassessing what exactly that goal is. Because sometimes maybe the goal is truly too big, you know.
Right.
But because we're perfectionists and we're type A personalities, or I've always been first in my class, and why can't I do this? Forgetting that now you're a mom, now you're a dad, now you have other responsibilities, and you just don't have that time availability you used to have. So helping them realizing that and reanalyzing that is very, very important. A lot of these goals, they see their friends. They're like, well, she did it. Why can't I do it? But what they don't realize that that friend also has me as a coach. You know, there's situations like that. I mean, I don't disclose to them, but I was like, you don't know the support people have. And a lot of
Ah,
times we see the outcome and we don't see the process, the back end process, right? I'm
okay.
a Marvel comics and Marvel movie fan. I love Marvel movies, okay? And I watched this amazing movie. Like I said, we just saw X-Men. And we went back to watch like the first initial X-Men. Now, being in the back end and seeing some of the backstory behind it, we're like this, we're
Mm-hmm.
watching kind of like the backstory, the making of. And we're like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, they did all this to come up with this. That's how life is. A lot of times we see the movie, we see other people's movies, but we don't see what's behind it. So when we try to
Interesting.
create our movies and don't have the director, the actors, the even the cleaning person that cleans the set,
The
do you
support
get what I'm saying?
staff, all of the things, people
We
holding
don't
things
have
up.
that, and then we put it on
Mm.
ourselves as, oh my gosh, what's wrong with it? Maybe there's nothing wrong with it. Maybe there is
Mm.
something wrong with you, but that's the
Mm.
job of people like Dr. Akinrombi and myself to help you decide. Okay, let's come back to step A. Why? Why
Why? I
exactly do
see
you want this? And
this.
then once we
Mm.
get through the why, then we go through the process. I always talk about how my dad is an architect, and I remember when he was younger, he also had his own construction firm, and I would go to firms with him, like the construction side, my little
Mm. Mm.
hard hat
Mm.
or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
I would see him tell the laborers and the masons and the
Mm.
furniture makers and the whatever, tell each person to do their job, right?
These
Each
pieces.
person is good at their own specific job, but you need the designer, aka the architect, who knows both what it's supposed to look like and what goes into it. Like an architect is
And
not
who can
just
see the
a
full
designer.
picture?
Exactly. They can see the full picture and they know, yes, you really want to pull in the middle of your living room, but you have a baby. That might not be a wise
A
idea,
good
right? They can
idea.
help you with that. So in life, a lot of times we forget that we can be the architect of our life. But we have to take a step
Mm-hmm.
back and say, okay, how can I design my life? What exactly do I want? I can't do that for you. Dr. Akinrombi can't do that for you. However,
Mm-hmm.
we can guide you. And then once you've
Mm.
created that sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I
Once
wanted
you
to because I wanted to take a quick moment to kind of
sure.
highlight some points because you pointed out some really powerful things and I wanted to kind of pull them out a little bit. So it
Mhm.
sounds like when people are feeling overwhelmed, when they're feeling like they're not accomplishing their goals, the first step really is to understand why. Why do you want to do what you want to do? What is in
Absolutely.
it? What's pushing it? What's driving it? Is it competition? Is it comparison? Or are your goals just simply not realistic for this moment in time? Sure, I want to go to NASA, but it's unrealistic for me to want to do it next week. But maybe that's a 10-year plan, right? I need to first get
Absolutely.
an understanding of what I want to do, why I want to do it, and a reasonable timeline to accomplish it. It sounds like that's some of what you pull out and helping people figure out.
Ding ding ding
And
ding
then
ding.
something you mentioned was support, which is like super important, right? And accomplishing things requires a team. And maybe not everyone you're seeing who's doing things is doing it by themselves. Probably most people. Nobody accomplishes goals by themselves. Nobody does everything by
Absolutely.
themselves. They're supporting structures,
And maybe that's the
coaches,
problem. Maybe because you want to do it by yourself, that's the problem.
do it all, do it all. And a lot of women, a lot of black women especially, are very big into DIY. I can do everything. I am so strong.
Absolutely.
I got it all. And so at some point, either things are not going to get done or your back is going to break. Something's got to give. I love the Gen Z right now who are all about the soft life. So I hope they are listening because living the soft life requires a ton of support to actually accomplish
Absolutely.
goals and still have a manageable soft life. I apologize for derailing you, Dr. Lola,
No,
but
no, no, no.
you have
I think it's
gems
always
in
very
there.
important. I think it's always very important to take a step back. Even in coaching, I did that a lot. Take a step back and really say, okay, what exactly are we saying? And I appreciate you for doing that because this ADHD, I can talk all day.
You dropping
But
gems. I didn't want people to miss it.
oh no, I appreciate that. But going back to the designing and architect analogy,
Uh-huh.
like my dad, he's actually one of the jack of all trade masters in all kind of people. Like
Mm,
he can build furnitures, he can mace it, he can do it all. Like this man is just straight amazing, right? However,
mhm,
when he's building a house, he doesn't do it all. Just because he knows how to do it does not mean he does it. Because yes,
mhm,
can he do it? And it took him 30 years to finish a house? Yeah, sure, right? Or he could hire a mason, and he can hire a carpenter, and he can hire a plumber and an
mm,
electrician,
mhm, mhm,
and he knowing it helps him direct what he needs and where he needs it, but it doesn't necessarily mean he needs to do it. One of
I
the
love
biggest
that.
advice I give people is stay in your zone of genius. My zone
Mhm,
of genius is strategizing. I'm a human whiteboard. I love to coach. I love to help. However, my zone of genius is not creating my appointments. I am my
mm.
assistant who reached out to Dr. Akin Rombi and was like,
Sure
when
did.
do you want us to meet? Da 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 da. My same assistant sent me a reminder just to remind you you have an appointment this morning. AKA,
Mm.
I've put it in your calendar. I've also put the StreamYard information in your calendar so you know to click it. You know,
Support who
that's
gets you here.
important.
Scheduling.
Exactly.
Mhm, mhm.
As I say that, I can already hear people, Dr. Lola, not everybody's a doctor. I don't have money to pay for an assistant. What about us that don't have an assistant? Boo. Like I tell people, assistant does not necessarily mean paid. It just means
Mm,
delegation, right? You
mm,
could delegate
mm,
part of what you need to do. So for
mm,
example, let's bring it back home. Let's say
mhm,
we have all these chores at home. As a mom of three, there are tons of chores to do.
mhm,
Part of
mhm.
delegation is telling my 3-year old who now knows his colors to sort out the laundry,
Mm,
right?
mm.
And we make it
Delegating.
fun as a
Okay.
game. We
Okay.
have the yellow and the red and the blue and the rainbows. Anything with more than one
Mm,
color, we call it the rainbow. They put it, all
okay.
my kids always done. My youngest now is going on 7, but even when they were 2, that's how we started. Guess what? We killed two birds with one stone. They reinforced their colors, and they help mama sort out the laundry. So instead of sorting out a
Let's
laundry of
go.
so many, let's say a whole
People.
laundry room full of clothes, now I only have the rainbows to really, really sort out. Because usually
Mm,
kids are really good at saying, no, 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 this is all yellow. This is
mm.
all red. This is all
That's
blue, you
true. That's
know?
true. And they'll keep you
And they
straight.
take
They'll
it
keep you straight.
so cool, right? Part of
Yes.
delegation is instead of cleaning up your kids' toys, making a game out of it. I remember when the kids were younger. Now they're hardly in the toilet room now, but when they were younger, like right before we went to sleep, right after dinner, we used to play the cleanup song, and we
Mm.
come up with a cleanup song, and we needed to see who will finish their cleanup before the other person. I
Oh,
mean,
my
if
3-year-old would love that game because he
oh,
likes
you
to
gotta
win.
make it fun. You know, you guys remember I said I have ADHD, so some of the ADHD tricks is making things fun. If it's boring, we ain't doing it. Point blank, period. You cannot make me do anything boring,
So you're
right?
taking advantage of that
Oh,
dopamine kind of hit.
absolutely. Full advantage of it. So that's delegation, right? And a lot of times
Hmm.
when people think of delegation, they think they have to delegate the whole thing. No. I believe in
Okay.
partial delegation, right?
Okay.
If
Okay.
let's say you want your husband to help you with groceries, but he sucks at groceries,
The groceries.
right? Part of delegation could be, babe, here's the list.
You make
Give
the
it to him.
list. Okay. And now that's off
Just
your plate.
because, yeah, part of delegation could be actually maybe every time go online. And right now on Walmart.com, a lot of this online stuff, you can actually pick what you want and put it in a basket.
On the card. Okay.
And he picks it up.
Okay. So
That's
you're looking at
delegation.
people who are already in your life and looking at what they can do, who can be assigned
Yes,
tasks, and take
exactly.
things off your plate so that you can accomplish
Absolutely.
more and the ADHD is not holding you. You also mentioned as part of delegation, doing things that you, living, not just delegating, but things that you are not good at, letting other people handle that for you so you can focus on the things you're good at and doing that, and that you're maximizing time, you're actually accomplishing things because you're focusing on the stuff you are good at and letting other people in your life take care of the things that you're not good at.
Absolutely. Stay in your zone of genius, right?
Stay in your journal
One thing,
genius.
a lot of people don't like to cook. I love to cook. Cooking to me is like science. I love
Okay.
trying different. I don't like to bake, but I love to cook,
You do cook.
right? Like
Okay.
actually, like
Okay.
different
Oh wow.
foods or whatever.
I
I
gotta
could be
come
in the
hang out
kitchen
with
all
you at
day.
home.
Oh, come on,
I love
baby.
to eat.
You know what I don't like to do? Wash dishes. I hate washing dishes. I just hate it. And it's more of I don't like my hand being wet for so long. It's so weird.
Okay, a
You
sensory
know?
thing.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
more of a sensory thing for me. Um, but guess what? Me and my husband could be in the kitchen together. We're talking. We're having a good time. Listen, I talk about the importance of building that relationship with your significant others because
Mm-hmm.
if your relationship is on the rocks, it actually affects
Mm,
your productivity as well.
this is
Especially
true.
women.
It's true.
Especially women. I'm not saying it doesn't happen with men, but when I'm not in good terms with my husband, my productivity sinks down.
It's just
So
there's a
part of
funk up there.
exactly. So part of what I teach my clients is, and they don't realize this when they come to me, is I also ask myself like, how is your relationship at home? What are you doing intentionally to make sure your relationship stays good? Part of it
Mm,
is attention and time, spending time with your significant other. I always say attention breeds affection, affection breeds love, right? So part of
mm-hmm.
my time, sometimes when I'm cooking, I'm like, baby, come stay in the kitchen with me. I'm bored, And guys like that. He's
That's
there. I'm
true.
talking. I'm cooking. I'm having him taste
You're
food.
multitasking.
Okay, in a good, I have two things. I'm spending time with him, but I'm also cooking.
And
So
he's
I'm not,
helping you probably as you're there and you're working on
and
your
as
relationship.
I'm,
You're doing like
and
10
my
things all at
husband, God
once.
has blessed me so much because he's a little OCD. He's a clean freak, clean freak. So as I'm
Beautiful.
cooking and I'm putting it in the sink, he's helping me clean it up. Either put in
Oh,
the
division of
dishwasher,
labor
washing. So
superb.
we're like delegation, baby, right? Like I'm not like, baby, I'm delegating you to help me do this and
Mm-mm,
da 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 da
mm-mm,
da.
mm-mm.
But I'm spending time with him. I'm cooking. He's loving the aroma and he loves my food. You know what I'm saying? I gotta prevent him from eating the
Hey.
food before it's all done. I'm like, no, no, no. Mm-mm. You get one taste. That's it. You know? We're talking about different things, right? And he's helping
Mm.
me as well. You see?
Multitasking on steroids.
And that's what I
Working on
call
the relationship.
multitasking because
That's
I'm
right. I love it.
multitasking my way. That's what multitasking
Ah.
stands for. So for you, you could blatantly task because you're going to
Mm.
multitask your way. Because my idea of multitasking is totally different from yours. Some
It needs
men
to
may
be
hate the kitchen.
individual.
That may
Mm.
not be
Okay.
their thing,
I
but
was
they
about to
love the
say that.
laundry, right?
Okay.
Some
Okay.
men may hate anything to do with the house, but they love doing car stuff. You gotta
Okay.
know what your significant other loves to do and
And
capitalize on that.
assign it to them or let that be their
Assign it to
thing.
them. Let that be their thing. I feel like a lot of times women want, okay, let me not say women, not being sexist. A lot of times we as human beings want our significant others to be what we are instead of what who they are.
Hmm.
Let them be who
Right.
they are and let them shine in who they are. That
There
being
was.
said, if you have someone that doesn't shine in anything, you could
Who
create what
doesn't?
I call a system operating procedure.
Okay. SOPs. We use that at work.
SOPs. We use that at work, but guess what? Your husband or your partner is or your wife
The children.
is not your worker. Neither are your
Hmm.
children. So let me
Hmm.
give you guys a hint what I did. So I would create an SOP. For example, I hate the way they load the dishwasher. Hate it. Well, I
Okay.
just told you I don't like to do dishes. So I
Hmm.
either accept the way they do it,
Okay.
or I create them with how I want it to be done.
To do it. Okay. Instructions.
So in our life plan, we have a family life plan, which I could talk about another day.
That's right.
Now,
Actually, that was the next thing I was going to ask you about because you've talked a lot about, things, in terms of what to start to do and think about, looking at supports, making sure that expectations are realistic, setting up tools, delegating, looking in your environment and letting you and the people around you shine at what you do. But so that's a good segue into what other tools do you recommend people can add into their mix, especially my people with ADHD, to help them really thrive in their
oh
lives
my
and
goodness. So
accomplish
one
their
of the
goals?
best things people can do, but going back to the ethical, let me just finish that thought. So you create a list of how you want it to be.
Okay.
This is how you do, this is how you do, this is how you do it. I'm not saying create it and give it to your husband, but have it somewhere. And I always recommend giving it to your husband to give to an assistant or your children. But in
Uh-huh.
him giving it to them, he reads it. Right? Because you don't want to tell them what to do. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
You got to use
Uh-huh.
wisdom. After what
Uh-huh.
14 years of marriage, I've learned. You know, they don't like to be told what to do, but you kind of help them out a little bit,
This is our task list.
nudge
How
them
many
a
books are
little
you
bit.
picking up?
Yeah. But okay, back to tools you need. Either ADHD or non ADHD, the number one tool you need in life, believe it or not, is having some kind of plan.
Hmm.
A planner in your life is a GPS for your life.
Right.
I've heard people say, I don't have a planner. I just put everything on my calendar and I have
Hmm.
reminders that remind me. I have a
Hmm.
planner and I still put everything on my calendar and I still have reminders that remind me.
Same here. I just
Right.
got back into planning lately because it just gives you a roadmap and then you can pull things out of there.
Exactly. Your planner is kind of like if you it's like saying I have a business but I don't have a business plan. I just have the days that I meet my clients and I just have the days that I meet my
Mm-hmm.
staff. That
It's
don't make
all
sense
disjointed,
really.
haphazard. It's not
Exactly. What a
cohesive.
GPS. True, right? So, but when you start your day, I call it GPS because you need to decide how do I want my day to be? You set the intention for your day. That's what your planner does. It gives you that intentionality for your day.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the day, at least the Lola planner, not all planners like are like this. My planner is more holistic. At the end of the day, you reflect. How was it?
How did
What
today
you don't
go?
track does not grow. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
not reflecting on your day at least daily or weekly, months go by, you're like, what did I do? Did I
Very
really
good.
accomplish what I said I was going to do? Or am I just
Mm,
moving through life? It's like
mm-hmm.
getting up to the car and say, I want to go visit Dr. Bolanley in New Jersey, and I just keep driving without putting a direction in. I know New
Mm,
Jersey is right by New York. Okay.
okay. So you're
I know
going
I'm going to go
somewhere.
through DC and Maryland and all this
Mm-hmm.
place,
Mm-hmm.
but am I
Mm-hmm.
guaranteed to get there in a 12-hour drive if I just started driving without a GPS? No, I'm gonna
Mm,
get lost. I'm gonna hit the wrong road. I'm gonna not because I do not know how to drive. Think about it. I know how to
mm-hmm.
drive. I have an
Right.
amazing car. I have the money. I have all that stuff. But because I did not actually sit down and map it out, now it's
Mapping it
gonna
out.
take me a week to get to New Jersey
When you could
because
have
I
been
have
done in
not
12 hours.
exactly.
Wow.
Doesn't
Wow.
mean I'm not going to have a reminder. Oh, your foil is low. Yes, I'm still going to have a reminder to tell me my foil is low. I'm still going to have a reminder to tell me, oh, wait a minute, there's let's say there's an accident there. I'm still going to hit the accident. I'm still going to get a detour. All those are going to happen either you have a planner or not.
That is true.
However, when you have a GPS, you're able to plan it perfectly. You know.
So,
However, another story
tools.
says if you
Uh-huh.
don't use it, no, it doesn't work.
This is
I have a
true.
GPS. If I don't turn it on, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna go, it doesn't work. I turn on Waze. I don't. Waze is not
I'm familiar with
sponsoring.
ways. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I'm just saying they're not sponsoring this. So, however, I turn on a GPS when I go to work, not because I don't know how to get to work, because there are times where I turn it on. It's like accident ahead. It's gonna
The
take you 30
detour
minutes instead
quickly.
of 15 minutes. Let's detour. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, thanks, Waves, and I detour. However, if
Mm-hmm.
I never turn on my GPS, I'm gonna just keep going my regular route,
And run into
and
trouble.
I hit the accident, and oh, I'm on I-4. There's nowhere else to exit till I get to my work, so we're just gonna sit in this traffic.
Mm.
That's exactly what a planner helps you to do. But I think a lot of time people think of planners as reminders, and that's why they're like, I don't need a planner.
Serve a
That's
different
not what
role.
a planner is. They
So,
serve different roles.
different roles. So in terms of tools, there's the planner, which is the roadmap. There's reminders to actually remind you to get going or stop some of the way of things are along. Because again, my either very busy women, so busy life, or ADHD people with their busy brains, they need all of these tools do different things in the spectrum of needs to accomplish the goals. So you have the planner, that's a planner, but the planner doesn't get the job done. It just gives you the roadmap.
Yes.
You have the reminder to bump you like, okay, it's time to do this, it's time to do that. I talk about externalized clocks because we do lose track of time. So ways to remind yourself of where you are in the day or in the week and things like that.
I was gonna
I
say
also
clocks
talk
too.
about I talk about the calendars, right? The electronic ones, because you have your planner in your bag, but then things that help you break it down for the day. And on that note, actually, about our timers and externalized clocks, I know we're nearing like the end of our time. I want to take the time to quickly ask you, Dr. Lolade, where can if people want enjoy hearing you, listening to you, and all the pearls and tools you've shared today, where can they find you and how can they find you?
Oh my gosh, it's been so nice being here. You know, I could talk forever, but I really gotta go. So my website is lollytasking.com, and it's just
Okay.
LLLIE tasking.com.
Uh-huh.
I also have two podcasts. One I'm reviving back. One is just called Lolly Tasking, Her Wealthy Life Playbook, and that's where you kind of learn a lot of all these tips. And then I
Uh-huh.
have another one called Lolly Tasking with ADHD, and that's very ADHD specific.
Specific.
With Lolly Tasking with ADHD, a lot of the interviews were from last year, so you can still get all that. They're very relevant. with Lolly Tasking Her Wealthy Life Playbook is going to be continued. And yours truly, Dr. Akinwumi, is going to be on there. So.
All right, that's right. Thank you so much. And thank you. This was a fun listen. This was good to hear. And, it's also relatable to know that a doctor with ADHD is accomplishing so much by using all of these tools. Not just telling people, but actually living it and experiencing it. It was so funny you broke out your timer because I have one here as well. So thank you so much. I hope that
I was
people
going
have
to add
learned a
one more
thing or two.
thing, if that's
Please go ahead.
okay. And we
Yeah,
did not talk
absolutely.
about this ahead of time, but everybody listening today, at least for the next 30 days, if you want a planner, I have a plan called the Lola Planner. And
Great.
if you're a supporter of Dr. Bolanle, you get it for pod 10. Just type in pod 10 and you get 10% off.
Ooh, awesome, awesome, awesome. Planners are awesome. I use one, Dr. Lola used one, so I highly, highly recommend, encourage anyone listening to check out the Lola Planner. It's a really great planner that they can take as part of the tools for planning their day and getting their tasks and goals in life accomplished so that they're thriving and not struggling and accomplishing things that they can and have set out to do. All right, that will be all for today. We did great, Dr. Lola. Thank
Spend
you
your
so
time here.
much. And again, I want to remind everyone listening, I'm Dr. Bilali Akinrumbi, psychiatrist at Bright Minds MD. If anyone has ADHD or is busy life or depressed about not being able to accomplish things and they want to get evaluated, get help, we also can talk medications. Our website is brightmindsmd.com, BRIGHTMINDSMD.com, where you can request your appointments at any time online, and we service New Jersey and New York. Again, thank you for listening. I hope you've learned a thing or two. Have a wonderful, wonderful time ahead. And again, thank you, Dr. Lola.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me.